This video is sponsored by Brilliant. More on them later. Hi, you're watching Floyd Steinberg's YouTube channel. Today we'll use the Hothouse pedal by Cleveland Music, which runs on the Electrosmith Daisy Seed, to turn this particular effect found on 1997's Yamaha EX5 synthesizer workstation into a guitar pedal. The Yamaha EX5 from 1997 has one very unique method of synthesizing sounds called FDSP. This technology was derived from modeling synthesis, which is a sound created from feeding a burst of noise into a complex system of delay loops, some loops representing the sound source or exciter and some the resonator. Think of a string and the guitar body. The most basic implementation of this idea is called coupled strong, named after the people who discovered this effect. Feed a burst of noise into a very fast delay effect and you'll end up with the sound of a plucked steel string. Well, FDSP took that idea and replaced the exciter with samples, and then let you configure or set up the resonator. Today I'll take a look at one particular FDSP model called Water, which created the sound of rain or running water, which react dynamically to the notes you played, and I tried to recreate that in Plugdata, a standalone extension of the puredata language, and installed the result on Cleveland Music's Hothouse pedal, which I introduced in previous videos of this series, so if you want to know more about that, there's a link in this video's description. In the Yamaha EX5's manual, there's a schematic showing how the water effect works. This may look a bit complicated, and it really is, but for now, it's enough to know that the idea here is to pass a burst of noise through a resonant bandpass filter. The filter cuts away most of the frequencies of the noise but the one it's resonating at. This results in a high-pitched noise, which then is processed further to sound like water droplets. We'll take a look at each stage of this process later, but the result we want to achieve is this. Listen to the water droplet sounds accompanying the synthesizer pad here. Now imagine you're back in 1997. VST plugins are still in their infancy. Computers look like this, and Palm OS is the next oh so hot right now thing. Hearing FDSP in action in that context must have been absolutely brilliant. Like today's sponsor, Brilliant. Brilliant helps you get smarter every day with thousands of interactive lessons in math, science, programming, data analysis and AI. Now, developing code is not only learning the programming language itself. Good coders can break down a problem into its basic components. They identify the underlying principles, formulate them and abstract them. Then they translate the problem into variables, constants and instructions. The shorter and more efficient the resulting code is, the better. Brilliant is an online learning platform that helps you getting into this mindset by breaking a problem down into several small steps and tasks for you to solve. Brilliant helps building your critical thinking skills through problem solving, not memorizing. So while you're building real knowledge on specific topics, you'll also be becoming a better thinker. One lesson takes roughly 5 minutes, so you can easily go through one on your daily commute. In preparing this video, I started the Thinking in Code course as a fresh up. The screen captures speak for themselves here. The presentation is super clean with helpful illustrations and working examples. Every problem is laid out clearly and you can always request an explanation why your solution was right or wrong. Brilliant keeps you motivated by reminding you of your lessons and ranking you amongst other people in your peer group. So there's always a friendly competition going on. To try everything Brilliant has to offer for free for a full 30 days, visit brilliant.org/FloydSteinberg or scan the QR code seen on screen right now, or you can click on the link in this video's description. You'll also get 20% off an annual premium subscription. And now, with your coding skills refreshed, let's dive back into Plugdata.
As you may remember from the last video, in puredata you can place modules on the board and connect them with cables. Each object has a specific number of connectors that can send or receive either a signal or a number. In Plugdata, these are color-coded. Yellow indicates signal, blue number. A signal is a trigger or audio data that will activate a module, while the number provides the parameters the object needs to work. For example, a filter has 3 inputs, a signal for the audio and 2 numbers for cutoff frequency and resonance. Right, let's take a closer look at the EX5's manual here, and let's add all the modules we need for this effect to our board. First, a noise generator. We could use the pink noise generator Plugdata has in its menu, but let's use the puredata standard noise object instead. Add an object, click it, and then type noise. On its own, the noise generator sounds like this. The idea now is to cut away most of the frequencies but a small band to isolate that frequency range, and then we will move that isolated frequency band around seemingly randomly by reading or sampling 1 byte of noise data in short intervals, converting it to a number, and convert that to a frequency that we will apply to the filter. Of course, we could add a random number generator as well, but this solution is much more elegant. So, the next element is a sample and hold low frequency oscillator or LFO. This particular type of LFO reads a value of the input signal in an interval and then holds that value for the duration of the interval and then repeats. There is no sample and hold LFO in puredata, so let's build one. First, let's add a snapshot. This module samples 1 value when triggered, which is just what we're searching for. Now we need a timer that triggers the snapshot. Puredata has the metronome module, so let's add that. This one takes 1 parameter, which you can enter like this. It's the interval's duration in milliseconds. The metronome will only start working when receiving a start signal. This is called a bang in puredata, so let's add that as well and connect it to the signal port of the metronome. Finally, we want the metronome to start working when a patch is loaded, so let's add a load bang module up here. This fires after the patch has finished loading. There you have it, a sample and hold LFO. We can now attach a float number module to the snapshot and see the sample values extracted from the noise. According to the EX5's manual, this LFO controls a low-pass filter's cutoff frequency. Puredata has the VCF object, which is a resonant low-pass filter, but I found the current version of the heavy compiler has problems translating that to the daisy-seed, so I'll use a resonant bandpass filter instead. But I hear you say, you can't just replace a low-pass filter with a bandpass filter. Yeah, that would be true if we could actually hear the processed audio in the end. But here that's not the case. We'll be hearing the filter resonance mostly. And as you can see and hear in this example, a 12 decibel bandpass filter set to a relatively low cutoff frequency is close enough to a low-pass filter for our needs here. If I understand the schematic here correctly, this filter will process the noise itself while being controlled by the sample and hold LFO that is based on the same noise. So let's connect the audio output of the noise object to the audio in of the filter first. Now, the values that come out of the snapshot object are between 0 and 1, but the cutoff frequency control of a bandpass filter here expects the frequency. So we'll add another module that multiplies the LFO value by 5000, so the resulting filter cutoff frequency will be something between 0 and 5000 Hz. Our filter also needs a resonance setting to work, so let's add a float value here. Resonance on this filter should be high, so let's use 140. Then connect the float object to the bang, so its value is transferred to the bandpass filter. Okay, that was a lot of info, so here's a short break for you, and I think Peter from Gloucester's fallen asleep there, so let's wait a few seconds. If we add an audio out port now and connect the output of the bandpass filter to it, we should hear something. Right, let's continue. Obviously, the next part we need to add is a bandpass filter. This filter receives audio from the audio in and from a noise generator chain. Here I'm adding the ADC module, which captures audio from your system's audio input. The ADC's left and right audio channel and our resonant noise generator then is connected to the new bandpass filter's audio input. The ADC also is routed directly to the output. Anything that goes into the pedal comes out of it as well. The output of this filter goes into another low-pass filter, and again we'll use a bandpass filter instead, which branches into a high-pass filter and a feedback delay line. My assumption here is that these additional filters cut away unwanted low end to get a more chiming sound. The high-pass filter is controlled by an envelope, as we want the water effect to accompany the incoming audio in a meaningful way. Let's attach an envelope follower to the audio input. The envelope follower is a module that quickly converts the volume measured on the audio input into a number between -1 and 1, just connected to the ADC to make it work. Remember, our goal here is to make the audio effects swell and fade away with whatever signal we're sending through our pedal later. Now again, the ADC will generate values between -1 and +1, but we want a high-pass filter to open close down. So we'll multiply the value of the envelope follower by 100 and subtract the result from 20,000, because setting a high-pass filter's cutoff frequency to 20,000 Hz cuts off everything below that, which basically is everything we can hear. What you see on screen is puredata's equivalent of this simple mathematical operation. Both the -20,000 and the product of env and 100 is fed into a +0 operator and then converted to a positive value, following the cables from the env module downwards. Oh no, we lost Valeria from Barcelona. Well, all you need to remember is we're opening and closing a high-pass filter here based on the loudness of the input, okay? We'll also convert the result of that operation to its absolute positive value and feed the resulting number into the high-pass filter, because there can't be negative cutoff frequencies. And now the delay. For this, puredata has the delwrite module, so let's add that. The syntax is delwrite tilde, name of the delay, and time in milliseconds. This here will capture a 1-second slice of audio and write it into a delay buffer. We can then add a vd tilde, which is variable delay, module somewhere, which will read the contents of the delay buffer and stream its audio to somewhere. Stay with me, Mark from Melbourne, almost there. The takeaway here is audio is stored in memory continuously and can be played back after delay that you can define. This module can take a signal as a parameter which determines the delay time in milliseconds, so let's add a signal module that defaults to 500 milliseconds here and connect it to the VD signal input. So let's connect the output of this delay loop to its input again, creating a recursion. In order to avoid unpleasant feedback noises, we also add an amplifier to this chain, so the volume of each delay iteration is reduced, so the delay eventually fades away. We'll also connect the output of this to the high-pass filter, so the audio eventually reaches the analog to digital converter. Now we can connect the audio out of the high-pass filter to the digital to analog converter, which should enable us to hear a water droplet sound that's swelling along with the sound input. Let's add some minor adjustments. An amplifier that controls this effect's volume based on the ADC envelope. This is connected to the envelope follower and divided by 1000, so the volume of the water droplets follows the volume of the audio input signal. And let's also set the filter cutoff frequency of the main bandpass filter to 1250 Hz and the resonance to 9, and the cutoff frequency of the lower bandpass filter to 1200 Hz and its resonance to to 0.75. These are arbitrary numbers are found by trial and error, which in my opinion produce the most pleasant water droplet sounds. Connect the number modules to both the filter inputs and the bang, so their values get fed into the filters when booting. Don't forget to connect the high-pass filter to the new amplifier module and then connect that to the audio output. Right, now let's compile this. In the menu, select Compile, then click on Electrosmith Daisy, then select Custom JSON as the target board, select the Hothouse JSON file that's found in the Hothouse pedal examples you can download from their GitHub page, then press the reset and boot switches on the Daisy seed and select Flash as export type. Then click the Flash button and wait. And ouch, that sounds awful. So now it's time to debug this thing. If you look at our construction here, can you spot the mistake? Pause the video to find it. Hey, that was a joke. And if you made it to this point in the video, I'm very proud of you. And to acknowledge you made it till here, please drop your best dad joke in the comments. Thank you. Yes, the problem is up here. See, the snapshot function will capture float values from the noise oscillator, and these can be anything between -1 and +1. So if we send a negative value to the filter cutoff frequency control, this will cause the system to crash. So let's add a max 0 here, which will set anything below 0 to 0 and try compiling again, and this time it's working. Right, I'll end the tutorial here. Next time we'll add controls to all of this and add buffering as well. So we'll end up with a rain effect that uses granular sampling, a bit like the hologram microcosm pedal or the Chase Bliss Onward. And finally, here's a demonstration of what we achieved so far.
Yep, and that's it for today. The Yamaha EX5's water effect on the Hothouse pedal by Cleveland Music. By the way, if you're interested in buying one of these, there's a new batch available tomorrow, so if you go to their webpage now, you should be able to buy one. And if you think this was a good YouTube video, please do the YouTube thing. In the next part of this series, I'll introduce sampling and pitch shifting so we can create something like the microcosm pedal or the Chase Bliss Onward pedal. So make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss that. Thanks for watching, see you next time, bye bye.